Hello everyone, this is our lesson 1, present time. Today we will cover present simple and present continuous. Mind you, this is advanced present time, so I assume that you know the basics about present tenses in English. Let's begin. The first use of present time is to describe facts. For example, our sun rotates around the center of the galaxy. You must be familiar with the form of present simple tense, how we make positive sentences, negative sentences, and questions. Another example is, it's hot in the summer. This is another form of present simple. But our main verb is, which is a to be verb. So this is the first use of present simple. The next use of present simple is talking about your habits, your present habits. Things that happen on a regular basis, things that happen frequently, like every week, every month, and so on. I exercise 3 times a week. With this use of present simple, it is generally common to use adverbs of frequency or adverbial phrases of frequency, like 3 times a week, often, always, usually, never, hardly, ever, and so on. So I exercise 3 times a week, present simple. This doesn't happen often, present simple. The next use of present simple is to make declarations. You say, for example, I hope you'll get better soon. You're expressing your hope, or you're declaring that you have this hope for somebody. I bet you cannot beat me. Or, I declare this land mine. The next use of present simple is, sometimes you see in news headlines that most of them are in present simple. And you think that this may look grammatically incorrect, but it is common in news headlines. We say, for example, ship sinks in midnight collision. So they try to keep everything concise and brief. So that's why they use this form in news headlines. Protesters clash with police. The next use of present simple is giving instructions. You know, you can give instructions using imperatives like go there, do that, look at me, and so on. But remember, it is always, it sounds more polite when you use present simple, when you are giving instructions to somebody. So we say, first, you roll out the pastry. This sounds like a recipe for some cake or something. So, instead of saying roll out the pastry using imperative, you could use present simple. First, you roll out the pastry. Another example, then you leave it for an hour. The next use of present simple is timetabled events. We say the bus arrives in an hour. Look, in an hour is in the future. In here, we are practically using present simple to talk about something in the future. It is possible when that event in the future is a timetabled event, like a bus timetable. My flight takes off soon. Again, your flight timetable. She retires in 3 years. This is also considered a timetable event. The next use of present simple is like when you want to tell a joke, when you want to tell an anecdote, a story or something, or historical events. Example, 2 men enter a bar in the morning. This is obviously the opening of a joke. I don't know the ending of it. So, but you see, you notice the use of present simple in here. Then he goes out without telling me. Like, imagine that you're telling a story to a friend, and you're saying that, then he does that to me, then she says this to me, and so on. Of course, all these events happened in the past, but you're using present simple because you are telling a story. It's maybe showmanship or something like that, I'm not sure. One example about historical events. We say, Alexander the Great arrives in Persia in 334 BC. Again, this is a historical event, but we use present simple to describe it. Now, let's start with present continuous. The first use of present continuous is things going on or happening at the moment of speaking. What does that mean? I'm teaching English grammar, Like this is happening literally at the moment of speaking, right now. But it doesn't need to be happening at the moment of speaking. For example, she is reading a history book these days. It is going on at the moment of speaking. It means it is not literally happening right now, but it is going on during these days. The next use of present continuous is arrangements in the future. You could use present continuous to talk about an event in the future only if you are certain of its happening, at least like in your mind, you are certain of it. Otherwise, we cannot be certain of anything in the world. So, they are getting married in June. It means like it's all set. The venue has been hired, like they know what music band to use, they have at least started the guest list and everything. He is leaving tomorrow. It means you have a flight ticket or a train ticket or something and you are leaving tomorrow. It is set, it is certain, it is arranged. The next use of present continuous is when you want to describe a temporary situation. This use of present continuous is commonly used in contrast with present simple. Example, I say, I live in Melbourne. This is like a permanent situation. But when you say, I'm living in Melbourne, it means it is a temporary situation. You don't need to explain that it is temporary or permanent. You are explaining it by means of language, like the contrast between present simple and present continuous. I'm staying in a hotel, temporary situation. She is living in Melbourne for now. You don't even need to say for now, because you know, in here, present continuous is suggesting that this is a temporary situation. Another use of present continuous is to complain about annoying habits. And look, it's very common to use always, forever, all the time, in tandem with this use of present continuous, because you are complaining about something. And remember, tone is very important in here, so your tone cannot be neutral. It needs to sound a bit annoyed. So, she is always telling me what to do. In here you go up the sentence pronunciation or intonation. She is always telling me what to do. You're obviously complaining about something. They are calling me all the time. Again, the annoyed tone, don't forget that. The next use of present continuous is to describe a trend, a present trend. Example, the weather is getting better. It means gradually it is going on. It is not there yet. It's a trend. People are using social media more and more these days, and this time expression more and more is very common with this use of present continuous. Now, before we go on, let me explain something to you. We have a lot of ways to categorize the verbs in English. We say, for example, some verbs are transitive, some verbs are intransitive, and something like that. In here, we say we are categorizing verbs into two categories. We say action or dynamic verbs and non-action or state verbs. So every single verb in English could be divided into action verbs or non-action verbs. And it is pretty simple. The concept is simple. We say like whatever verb that involves an action, that's an action or a dynamic verb. And if not, it's a non-action or a state verb. Why am I explaining this to you? Because look at this. We generally don't use the state verbs in progressive or continuous tenses. When we are, you don't say that, for example, I'm thinking that was a very good film. You say, I think it was a very good film. Because in here, I think is a state verb. You're expressing your opinion about something. So it is not common to be used in continuous form. I believe you. This is common. You don't say, I'm believing you, or at least it is not common. When someone says, I am believing you, it doesn't mean, like, it is different from I believe you. I'll explain it later on. Some verbs could be action or non-action, depending on the context and meaning or the situation. Example 1, I have a car. Have in here means to possess a car, to own a car. There is no action involved in here, so this is a state verb. I'm having lunch. In here, to have means to eat. So, I'm having lunch, it is an action verb. We could use it in continuous form. Example 2, you are my guests. To be. a state. You are being silly. It means you are behaving in a silly way. So the meaning of to be is different here. Let's do an exercise together. Look, it says underline the correct word or phrase in each sentence. I haven't decided yet about whether to buy a new car or a second-hand one, but I think about it, I'm thinking about it. In here, you are literally thinking about it. So there is action of thinking involved. Remember, when I say action, it doesn't mean necessarily movement. Like when you are thinking about solving a problem, that is an action verb. So the answer is I'm thinking about it. 2. All right, you try to fix the television, but I hope or I'm hoping you know what you're doing. This is a non-action, this is a declaration, and this is present simple. Number 3, every year I visit or I'm visiting Britain to improve my English. You guessed it right. This is because it is a frequent event. It says every year, so present simple. Number 4, it's time we turned on the central heating. It's getting colder every day. Again, you are describing a trend in here in present time. Number 5, of course, you're Mary, aren't you? I recognize you now. I recognize you now. You are either expressing a fact, I recognize you, I know you, or you're declaring that you recognize this person. Remember, there is no clear distinction between this use of present simple or that use of present simple and so on. We use these categorizations just to make the concept clearer. So it is not like first came the language, then came grammar and rules. It is not the other way around. So, number 6, the film of War and Peace is very long. It lasts. You're describing a fact in here, so present simple. Number 7, I can see from what you say that your mornings are very busy. But what do you do, or what are you doing in the afternoons? It says every afternoon. So, something that happens on a regular basis, so present simple. Number 8, I'm going to buy a new swimming costume. My old one doesn't fit. It's just a fact. Number 9, that must be the end of the first part of the performance. What happens next? It means what is on the timetable about the next performance. So present simple. And number 10, what's the matter? What's the matter? It means something is happening at the moment of speaking. So why are you looking at me like that? Our last exercise is deciding if it is present simple or present continuous. Number 1, I hear that you have been promoted. Congratulations. This is a declaration, so you use present simple. I hear. 2, British people, more and more wine, apparently. You see more and more in here. This is a very common time expression for to describe a trend in the present time. So we could use present continuous. People are drinking more and more wine, apparently. And number 3, I hope Sarah will be here soon. I'm depending on her. When you say I depend on her, it means I always depend on her. That's a fact. But let's assume that you're in a meeting and waiting for somebody to take care of some important business. It means when you say I'm depending on her or him, you are, firstly, you are describing a temporary situation. Secondly, the meaning of depending is relying on you or counting on you or on her. Number 4, please be quiet, David. You, again, forever. You are forever interrupting the tone and noise. You are forever interrupting. Number 5, hey you, what do you think you're doing? What do you think? It means you're asking about your opinion about what you're doing. So this is obviously a state verb in here, so present simple. Number 6, could you come here please? I want to talk to you. I want, it's a form of declaration and it's a fact, so present simple. Number 7, sorry. Jane is away on holiday, so Linda, it's a temporary situation, is handling her work. Number 8, to be honest, I doubt, declaration, I doubt whether. Remember, after doubt, you use either whether or if. You say, I doubt if she's coming, or I doubt if he'll be on time. I doubt whether Jim will be here next week. Number 9, you've only just started the job. How are you getting on? What is the trend of you like settling in your workplace, in your new workplace? Number 10, pay no attention to Graham. He's just being sarcastic. It means he's behaving in a sarcastic way. This is not to be the state verb. Okay, this was our present time. We will discuss present perfect and present perfect continuous in another lesson in the future, in the near future. So I hope you have found this lesson useful. See you next time.